for part two. So yeah, so the group finished Sunless Citadel, and you're back. You've had your last night in Oakhurst and said your goodbyes to Gomph and got your reward. And the next part was going to visit Uncle Unkhemmer in Saltmarsh. He had some business that he wanted to discuss with you guys. Uh, Also, really importantly, when you were in the Sunless Citadel, you'd found something um, from Calcrix, and it was a an empty, no, it was a sealed scroll case with dwarven letters on it, and you hadn't opened that. But that came into your possession, and when you went to Saltmarsh to meet up with Uncle Uncomer, and he had some things to talk to you about. Do you remember what they were?
I think he took notice of the sealed scroll case and said he'd get back to us with some more information on that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, he didn't know too much about it, but it was like very interesting, and he had a cartographer friend that, or no, an antiquities friend, I think, that was able to go and find out some more about that. Was there anything else that you guys had seen in there?
I think there's also a local dwarven silver mine that was
Hmm.
just established, like just outside of Saltmarsh from the Copperlocks clan.
That's right. Yep.
Um, and
That's sort of happening.
yeah,
Yep, that's happening in Saltmarsh. That's sort of a new, relatively new thing that's happening in Saltmarsh. A new venture that they're undertaking. Um, there's also, I mean, there is some intrigue. Saltmarsh itself is it's not a big city. It's a town, a fishing town, and there are, it's under the in this world. It's under the sway of Waterdeep. It's closer to Waterdeep than Baldur's Gate, but it's sort of left alone because it's not on the main path. And it does supply a lot of the food to some of the food to Waterdeep. Recently, there have been you know, some cited and more not insurrection. That's the wrong way to say it. There are more representatives of Baldur's Gate through the Flaming Fist of mercenaries who are appearing in Saltmarsh a little bit more. But in general, everything's relatively peaceful. Everybody's very much trying to get ahead. They want to catch their fish, sell their wares, make their money, and grow. And Uncle Uncomer he knows he thinks that some of those the dwarven the Copperlocks clan and the mine that is opening nearby can help add another level of prosperity to the town. Uh, and Very importantly, this note that you guys received that was in that sort of scroll case became very interesting for most of you guys. And let me and before I read this though, there's also somebody else that you happen to meet. Uncle Uncomer said that you should meet. Although you met him after he read this, so I guess maybe I'll read this first. So there was a map and a note that was in this case, and it said, "When the gale finally ended, we found ourselves approximately 15 days normal sailing distance due west out of Port Nyanzaru, far to the west of Chult. We replenished our supplies, patched up the ship, and traded some of our remaining goods at native villages along the shores of several islands. Most of these small islands were unremarkable. Some villages were friendly, but others were hostile, and the natives attacked on sight. I suspect the hostile villages were filled with cannibals. We skirted the coastlines of several smaller islands, sailing south by west until we reached a small peninsula cut off from the main island by a massive stone wall. We were well received by the natives of Tanaroa, the small village that guards this wall. We wish we'd brought some more trading goods, as these villagers were very accommodating. The villagers have no name for this large island other than the Isle of Dread. Their own small peninsula is known simply as Home. The villagers told us a tale about an ancient city in the central highland of the isle that was built by the same people who built the wall. The villagers call the builders the gods, but I noticed the name of the gods and the personal names of the clan ancestors were often the same, so I suspect that their ancestors and the builders were one and the same as well. I believe that the natives once possessed a much more advanced culture and that the descendants of the builders have returned to a more primitive state. The inland city is rumored to be filled with treasure beyond imagining. In particular, I heard persistent tales concerning a great black pearl of the gods that still remain in the inland city. The island waters abound with excellent pearl beds, so the rumor of the black pearl may well be true. The village contains a number of huge lifelike statues of iron, bronze, and stone. Since no villager currently has the skill or the craft to make such statues, the tale of a lost city built by the gods seems reasonable. I would have liked to explore inland to verify the rumors, but too many crewmen died in the storm or by cannibal spears. Only 5 of us are left. I am the only professional adventurer, while the others are only sailors. We can sail the small ship well enough, but on land in hostile territory we would be helpless. Once back in Port Yanzaru, I should be able to recruit a new crew and a party of professional adventurers. Then I shall return to the Isle of Dread to claim the great black pearl and whatever fabulous treasure awaits. Perhaps I can set up a base somewhere and reap the vast untapped resources of this place. One thing I managed to do before leaving. We sailed around the island and made the best map we could. We were afraid to land, since village fishermen had warned us that it was extremely dangerous to land anywhere on the main island, and the coasts were rocky with no beaches. As a result, the map only shows the coastal areas we could chart from the ship. But it's better than nothing. And that's from Rory Barbarossa. So that kind of got you started, right? That's sort of Legolas was very interested. He thought the idea of vast treasure was huge. Um, what was your motivation? Why is this interesting to you, Kane?
Who'd be remembered more than the person who claimed the Great Black Pearl
Hmm.
and then probably brought some of that wealth back to Saltmarsh to share with those people?
That's right. Um, Uncle Uncamer also sees it as an opportunity for helping Saltmarsh grow. If some of these either trade routes or riches can be um, connected back to Saltmarsh, that could do very well for it.
Here, what's that?
Yep,
My phone's about to die. I need to grab my charger.
sure, no worries. Yep, and thank you everyone who's joining. Is this one viewer myself? I don't know. The fact that we have a viewer is awesome, and the fact that I closed down Discord means you can't see me doing anything. I should be able to see this. There we go. Cool. Okay.
All right.
So yeah. So there was and so Legolas was interested. Your uncle Uncamer had said, there's, you know, this is a big deal, probably a big deal for Saltmarsh as well, and he introduced you to another character who joined you. Gonf had left, but Aravan joined you. He was an ex-marine who had been shipwrecked and had basically been found and brought back to Saltmarsh to recover. And he's looking for treasure. He's also looking for ways to exact some revenge on a mercenary group that did him wrong or betrayed him. And sort of and That was one thing. And then there's also, yeah, we don't need to talk about Legolas is money oriented, and Axel is very Lathander, spreading the good word, uh, motivated, and he thinks, hey, if there's areas here that need some good word to be done, I think he might have that bent.
And with the
So
treasure, he could build more churches.
exactly. So you guys, Uncle Uncamer managed to get you a passage on a ship uh, to Port Yanzaro, which would take a couple of weeks. Do you remember what happened on your adventure down to Port Yanzaro?
We encountered the The Emerald something.
The Emerald, not Emerald Eye. It was like the Emerald Barnacle or something like that. No, the Emerald,
Oh, Emerald Eye,
Emerald Eye. Yep.
a famous pirate ship, and
Mhm.
narrowly avoided it. Our captain kind of somewhat foolishly thought we could maybe take it on, and then decided very quickly that we could not, and turned away from it.
Yep.
Um, we also found a island full of. Oh well, first we found a sea elf named Oceanus,
Hmm.
who told us about an island full of undead
Hmm.
and some people. Or we didn't know that
No,
at the
he didn't
time.
know at the time, and sea elves are very rare in these parts. So the fact that you saw a sea elf was kind of cool. But the sea elf took you to some shipwrecked crew on an island, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
we went there to recover them, try to get them back to safety, and found out that that island was full of undead, which was a very interesting battle. But we were able to repel them and get all the people back. Missed the large chest that was there, though. But the people were more important.
Yeah. So you managed to save some of the crew, and none of you went down. None of you died. It was a pretty, very, very, you just managed to escape that one by the hair of your pants. So that was good. And then anything else happen on the way down? I think those are the main things.
We also met Hammond. Hammond, did he have a last name? Just
He
Hammond?
does no Hammond Hort something. I don't. Hang on.
Okay.
No, I know. I want to say this properly because
Okay.
he is not only is he a character. It's Hammond's Harvesting Handbook, which is kind of which is a cool supplement that we got on DM's Guild. I think it's Jasmine Yang who did this, the Drifters Game Workshop. So shout out to that group. It's so far so good. There's been I think only one or no two times where you've got actually used it. I'll say what it is. Sorry, it's Holderheck. Hammond Holderheck. He's literally written the book on harvesting animal parts or monster parts, right? And you being the druid, Kane, have a copy of it. Hammond is he was on your ship, and now he is in Port Nazar. You did get to Port Nazar. I'm jumping ahead a bit. And you encountered just before you got to Port Nazar. What happened?
We were jumped by some Sahagin,
Mm,
uh, some like evil sea shark worshipping people.
hmm That that Oceanus, the sea elf, really doesn't like.
Yeah,
And yeah, so those and you managed to repel them. They didn't seem to be. It wasn't a concerted effort to take over the ship. It didn't seem. It was a bit more of a scouting or some kind of little incursion. They managed to take a couple of the dwarven crew members from your ship. But you did manage to beat you repelled them. But you also got to get some stuff from them, didn't you? Didn't you carve up a couple Sahagin?
that was the first use of the Hammond's Harvesting Handbook. We got some, I think, like 2 vials of Sahagin blood
Hmm.
that can be used to make a potion of the Sahagin,
Hmm.
which can let you breathe and swim underwater, but might turn you into one. So
There you go. That's right. Yeah, and you found that out when you did get to Port Nyanzaru, and the background of Port Nyanzaru is this is on the Isle of Chult, and in this world, Chult has been cleansed of the soulmonger and the spell plague, which had been destroying the world. Not destroying the world, had been people who had been resurrected before were slowly dying. When you're dying, they were going to be truly dead, but there was the Archlich. Acererak was defeated. The Soulmonger, which was causing these problems, had been destroyed, and a band of adventurers had successfully cleansed Chult. Skip ahead to the present time, and Chult is booming. There are less and less undead. There is more. Chult is opening up. Port Nyanzaru is absolutely a massive boom town. Prices are going through the roof. Um, there is the also in Chult there are the Baldur's Gate is represented by the mercenaries of the Flaming Fist. They're claiming larger and larger parts of Chult for themselves. But the Queen of Omu, Mwaxanzane, she has been she's reclaimed the throne to the lost city of Omu, and her and Port Nyanzar are trying to rebuild the land of Chult, which is sort of the background of what's going on. So there's things are growing. Port Nyanzar is busting at the seams, um, and people don't seem to be turning their attention too much to the west, which is where this Isle of Dread is supposed to be. Now, there was a down and out Saltmarshian. This gets us to almost to where we need to go. So you did get to Port Nazaru, and one of the people that Uncle Uncomer had mentioned was Aubric, and Aubric is a down and out ex rich merchant from Saltmarsh. He still is held in by certain people held in good esteem. He was always pretty above the board kind of merchant. He had a large fleet. He had a lot of business investments, but he's fallen on hard times. Specifically, trying to get his business going in Chult. He'd sold off many of his assets and put in promissory notes. So that and these promissory notes were to be used for new real estate ventures and sort of new forms of business that he could expand. When he was coming down to Port Nyanzaru, though, that all of those deeds and titles and documents, which had been contained in this one lockbox, uh, were lost when the transport ship hit a storm and was lost at sea. Um, a few About a week ago, Aubric had heard of the ship that thought he'd lost months and months ago has actually been sighted, and he has asked to see if you would go and recover that lockbox for him. Not only would he be hugely grateful, he will either give you a substantial reward, monetary, or a ship, which interestingly is what you guys need to get to the Isle of Dread. So this is the wave. What is this called? Sorry,
Soul of Winter, I think.
the soul. No, the soul of winter.
Or is that the other ship that we went to get
Hold
there?
on 1 second. Soul of Winter. No, 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 no. Ah, I guess I could have opened Roll20, but that wouldn't have. Oh, I'll do it this way.
Emperor of the Waves.
Emperor of the Waves. I knew it was the wave something. So Emperor of the Waves is the ship that is sort of
Long.
adrift, and the party you've spent a couple days getting to it, and you just got on the ship, and it looked like it had been. Doesn't appear to be any crew. The masts are broken. There seems to be some damage. The ship is listing to port, but you got on the ship, and immediately in the uh, captain's room, had a battle with what's called an ettercap and a giant spider and a lot of these spider swarms. And from there, the rest of that's all on video in going forward. So that's a little bit of the background of where you are. You guys are on your way to you're on your way to and well, I'm not going to spoil it. You can watch the last video to find out what happened. Um, but you guys are well on your way to getting to the Isle of Dread. You're sort of starting to make a little bit of a name for yourself, and you're building up some of these connections both within Port Nyanzaru and Saltmarsh. Anything else that I've significant that I've missed? I mean,
We did get some experience playing with the ship combat rules
mhm.
whenever we pulled a close call with a pirate ship. So hopefully that and having a marine in the party, and then maybe I forget if Legolas was a sailor or not, or just a smuggler,
He's a
but
smug. He's got a smuggler background, yeah. So he's good
with
at
a good
getting you into.
crew.
He's good at getting you and getting like, on the down low accommodations and finding out what's going on in town, right? With a good crew, you said.
But us with a good crew might be able to run the ship ourselves, hopefully.
Hmm. That's true. Yeah, Erewhon, yeah, the Marine, he also has proficiency with sort of water vehicles. Um, and you did say this is something I guess important. When you saved that crew, there were a few shipwreck survivors. One of the people that you saved was John Lynn Sandor. He's the um, first mate who is ready to become captain. He seems like a pretty solid guy, and might make a good crew member going forward,
Hmm.
which I think you've indicated to our not Arvan to Albrecht as well. So yeah, you guys, and that first battle, the battle with the pirate ship, didn't go that great, but it did give you an idea of what you can do in sort of seaborne shipborne combat. So that was kind of why it was there. And with that, I'm just gonna say, watch these first couple videos. Watch session 7, which is the first public one we did. And as we go along, maybe we'll come back and add some behind the scenes and unseen, Sunless Citadel chapters as well, if we can get that going. So until then, we play every Wednesday at 8 p.m. PST. Check us out here on Twitch. I guess I'll do this on Twitch. Makes sense. Or I just go to. We haven't decided yet. Probably on Twitch, 8 p.m. PST. Otherwise, it'll be on YouTube shortly after that. So yeah, Greg, Dave, Jeff, and Steve will be back next Wednesday. And thank you all for joining. Thanks for the 2 viewers. Hey, thanks 2 viewers. Awesome, and 15 views. Sweet. That's super cool. So until next time, everybody, we will see you on the flip side, and I'll put a link to the YouTube channel down below. Ciao.
Bye.
See you, Greg.
See ya.